Our first big landmark was Devil's Tower in northeastern Wyoming, rising suddenly from the prairie and pine hills. Its tall stone columns formed as ancient igneous rock cooled and cracked. Then softer rock eroded away. For many Native nations, this sacred place is known by names such as Bear Lodge, with stories of children lifted to safety while bears clawed the sides. In 1906, it became the first U.S. national monument, and it felt like a powerful beginning to the trip. After Devil's Tower, we drove the Spearfish Canyon Scenic Byway through the northern Black Hills. A cold spring storm had covered the canyon in snow, fog, and achy mist, making the whole landscape quiet and dramatic. The road follows a deep limestone gorge carved by Spearfish Creek, with cliffs, pine forests, waterfalls, and old mining route history all tucked into one winding drive. Bridal Veil Falls was the highlight, dropping over a broad rock face while snow clung to the trees around it. Needles Highway became one of our most memorable drives. Instead of spring sunshine, we had snow, fog, granite spires, and pine trees softened by mist. This 14-mile road through Custer State Park was designed in the 1920s to slow travelers down and reveal the landscape bit by bit. Our best delay came from bison crossing and lounging in the road, completely unconcerned with our schedule. Snow, forest, granite, fog, and bison together made the Black Hills feel wild and unforgettable. This snowy Black Hills Day brought together Crazy Horse Memorial and Mount Rushmore. At Crazy Horse, fog hid much of the carving, but the museum and cultural exhibits made the visit meaningful, honoring Lakota history and Native identity. Later, Mount Rushmore appeared and disappeared through clouds, giving brief, dramatic glimpses of the presidents. Seeing both places in one day highlighted two very different stories of this landscape: national symbolism on one side and Native memory and resilience on the other. We almost skipped Badlands National Park because the sky was still gray and heavy, but I'm so glad we stayed. The landscape felt otherworldly, with open prairie giving way to sharp ridges, striped cliffs, deep gullies, and eroded formations stretching for miles. Wind and water shaped these layers over millions of years, leaving behind fossils and stories of ancient environments. Beautiful as it was, the rough terrain made it easy to understand why travelers called this place the Badlands. After the cold Black Hills weather, Chamberlain felt like a shift into wider skies. Along the Missouri River, we saw Dignity of Earth and Sky, a 50-foot sculpture of a Native American woman wrapped in a star quilt. The quilt represents honor, healing, generosity, and respect, while the metal diamonds catch light and wind. We also visited the Okta Lakota Museum, one of the most meaningful stops of the trip, presenting Lakota culture as living, present, and deeply connected to this land. The Mitchell Corn Palace was one of those wonderfully odd American roadside stops. A building decorated with corn sounds quirky. And it is, but it is also charming. Built to celebrate South Dakota farmland, its murals are made from corn, grains, and grasses, with designs that change each year. Part folk art, part community center, and part small-town pride, it felt like a cheerful tribute to the agricultural heart of the Great Plains. Falls Park in downtown Sioux Falls was a surprise after days of prairie, hills, and canyons. The Big Sioux River tumbles over ancient pink quartzite, creating waterfalls right in the city's heart. That rock is more than 1 billion years old and gives the park its distinctive color. The falls helped name the city and powered early mills and industry, with ruins still hinting at that past. It blended natural drama and local history beautifully. Lost Canyon tours in Wisconsin, Dells was a peaceful surprise. After wide-open landscapes, this felt cozy. Wooded paths, sandstone walls, and a quiet route through the canyon by horse-drawn wagon. The dells were carved by powerful Ice Age meltwater floods, leaving cliffs, narrow passages, and unusual rock shapes. With the clip-clop of hooves, creaking wheels, birdsong, and canyon echoes, This stop felt like the slower, gentler side of Wisconsin Dells. Olbrich Botanical Gardens in Madison gave us a peaceful place to slow down. Near Lake Monona, the gardens blend formal design with a relaxed Midwestern feel. Flowers, water, paths, prairie-style plantings, and quiet corners. The Tropical Conservatory was especially welcome after cool spring days, with palms, orchids, birds, and warmth. It was the kind of stop that invited wandering instead of rushing. Saugatuck by Lake Michigan was one of the calmest parts of the trip. In early spring, the town was just waking up, with some shops still closed and everything paused before the summer rush. Saugatuck and nearby Douglas have long been resort and arts communities, shaped by dunes, beaches, boating, and cool lake air. Oval Beach was a highlight, with Lake Michigan stretching so wide it felt almost like an ocean. The Grand Rapids Public Museum was an unexpected highlight while waiting for a flight. With roots in the 1850s, it tells the story of Western Michigan through history, science, industry, and the Great Lakes. Grand Rapids grew around the Grand River and later became known as Furniture City. The recreated historic streets and storefronts gave us a nostalgic walk through Michigan's past, while the exhibits connected the region to logging, shipping, immigration, and trade. Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park was one of the most visually rich stops. We started with a tram tour through sculpture gardens, wooded trails, wetlands, meadows, and open spaces, all designed so art and nature could speak to each other. The Tropical Conservatory felt like a warm green escape. My favorite spot was the Japanese Garden, whose ponds, bridges, stones, winding paths, and layered plantings created a calm feeling of balance and reflection. Centennial Park felt like the lively heart of tulip time in Holland. We visited several times after arriving, during our guided tour, and again for Dutch dancing. Tulip time began in 1929 as a celebration of Dutch heritage and spring tulips, rooted in a city founded by Dutch immigrants in the 1840s. During the festival, the park filled with flowers, music, dancers, and local pride. Our Tulip Time tour guide, Linda, brought Holland's history to life in traditional Dutch clothing. Her stories made the city feel like a real community shaped by generations of Dutch heritage, not just a festival backdrop. She talked about local customs, architecture, costumes, and wooden shoes, or klompen, once practical footwear and now a lively symbol of the Dutch dance performances. She turned sightseeing into storytelling. Windmill Island Gardens combine tulips, Dutch history, and waterside charm. Its star is de Zwaan, meaning the swan, a working Dutch windmill built in the Netherlands in the 1700s and moved to Michigan in the 1960s. Windmills were essential in Dutch life for grinding grain, sawing wood, and managing water. Surrounded by canals, gardens, and tulip beds, de Zwaan made the park feel both educational and picturesque. The immersion garden was one of the most beautiful parts of Tulip Time, and this slide shows my impressionist-style interpretation of it. The flowers flowed in rich blocks of red, pink, purple, yellow, and spring green, almost like brushstrokes across the landscape. After snowy monuments, foggy canyons, and cold winds, arriving at peak bloom felt like crossing from winter into spring. It was the perfect final image, a road trip ending in color, flowers, music, and life.